So after years upon years of build-up and hype, Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens has dropped. One of the most anticipated movies of all time. I have to say up front, I'm one of the few people you will find online who's reviewing this film who isn't a huge Star Wars fan. Don't get me wrong, the original trilogy is great, but those movies aren't the best movies ever in my opinion. They're really fun space operas, and that's it for me. So just know, I went into this as a pretty casual fan of the series. Anyway, enough intro. Let's get to it.
The dark side. A Jedi.
And as I do with most big movies, I'm gonna go spoiler free to start off with, and then with a very specific warning, I'll get into the spoilers, just in case some people haven't seen this yet. So this is normally the part of the review where I give a quick breakdown of the plot, but really, the trailers for this haven't given away much of the story, so I think I'll leave it like that. Your movie watching experience will be better if you don't know what's coming. If I had to give a vague summary, there's a bad guy with a weapon, and he's gonna do some bad stuff, so a ragtag group of heroes have to stop him. That's more or less it. Now first off, I have to say, the cast in this was phenomenal, both new and old. John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, and Oscar Isaac all do fantastic jobs with the characters. They're very charismatic, they're funny, they can be serious when needed, they're great. If I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably go with John Boyega. I don't know, he was just really awesome to me. And the old cast was really good too. Han Solo could have gone down the Crystal Skull route very quickly, and he could have just been an old grumpy man who isn't a lot of fun to watch. But watching this, I was like, this is totally what an older Han Solo would be like. And frankly, he's just a lot of fun to watch. It was also nice to see Chewie, Leia, and a stack of other characters back. The villain in this, Kylo Ren, was pretty great. At first, I thought he was just gonna be Darth Vader light, but no, he was interesting and threatening. And for now, that's all I'm going to say about him as to not spoil anything. Now, J.J. Abrams had a huge task ahead of him when making this film, as he not only had to make one of the biggest movies of all time, but also had to make that as a huge Star Wars fan. If he had messed this up, he would have not only let down the fans, but also himself. And I'd say, with that amount of pressure, he did a great job. You can really tell that this is directed by a Star Wars fan, which some people might not like, but I was fine with it. The fan service in this didn't annoy me. Unlike a movie like Spectre, it didn't feel awkward or out of place. Like when a character from the other movies showed up, it didn't feel forced in at all. The action in this was also fantastic. I wouldn't say there's a ton of it, but when it's there, it's tense, it's fun, and it's exciting. And that John Williams music really adds to it and makes it Star Wars. Now, as far as the negatives go, there aren't a lot, but this wasn't a perfect movie. This film felt quite a bit like a retread of other Star Wars movies, specifically the original. Without spoiling anything, there were a lot of moments that felt beat for beat copied from A New Hope. Also, I'm guessing I'll be in the minority of thinking this, but for me at least, the ending felt a tiny bit rushed. It might just be me, but I just think it didn't flow as well as the rest of the movie. So before I get into the spoiler section, I'll just wrap this up real quick. I had a blast watching Star Wars The Force Awakens. I'm guessing hardcore mega fans will also really enjoy this movie, but as someone who just wanted to watch a really cool, fun space film, I got exactly that. I'm gonna give The Force Awakens an 8.8 out of 10. Now, let's talk some spoilers. If you haven't seen The Force Awakens yet, click away now. So first up, I gotta talk about this. The death of Han Solo. This was a really effective emotional scene, and I think it was handled pretty well. If Han hadn't gone out in a satisfying way, it would have really taken this film down a few points. But no, it was sad, and it fit with the plot, and it was really well done. However, I do have to add on to that even though this wasn't the movie's fault, it was pretty obvious that this was going to happen. Again, I'm not saying this was necessarily the film's fault, it's just, going into this, I pretty much knew that Han Solo was gonna die. Harrison Ford has always wanted it, it seemed like a logical step forward in the series, it was just quite obvious even before I stepped into the cinema. However, I don't think I can really hold that against the movie. As far as other spoilery things, I'll just speed run through these. That lightsaber battle at the end was awesome. First it was Finn versus Kylo Ren, then Rey versus Kylo Ren, so cool. Speaking of which, Kylo Ren was super threatening, until he took his mask off. Don't get me wrong, he was still a really cool character, and the performance was great. I just wasn't really as threatened by Adam Driver as I was when he had the mask on. Still a really interesting villain though. So those were my thoughts on Star Wars The Force Awakens. What did you think of it? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments. While you're at it, be sure to like this video, check out my Instagram at BHL_Hudson, and subscribe for more videos like the one you just watched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.